All right, guys, so today I'm going to be making Death by Chocolate zucchini bread. That's my oven is ready. I've preheated it to 350. And what you're going to need is zucchini, 3 small ones and 1 large one. You want to get 2 cups of zucchini grated, right? A cup of butter melted, an egg and an egg white, okay? So 1 full egg and an egg white. You're going to need 1 teaspoon of baking soda, vanilla flavoring, and cinnamon. Need a 1/2 cup of cocoa powder, a whole cup of sugar, and I believe it's a 1.5 cups of flour. So this is what's so different about this recipe is I'm using, and this is the first time that I'm doing it, this protein flour, okay? So this is the Kodiak Cakes protein, but it's still all-purpose flour. It just has 3 times the protein in it. So 10 grams of protein, what's the serving? Per a 1/4 cup. So I'm making zucchini bread, but I'm giving us a little bit more protein in it, okay? So all the other non-healthy ingredients, we're gonna add some healthy to it, other than just the zucchini. And then you're gonna have chocolate chips. 3/4 cup, but to be honest, I like to just pour it. I'm going to try to stick to the recipe for the sake of the video, but I like to just pour them in there until there are enough chocolate chips to the eyes that are appealing. You also want to dust and butter a 9 by 5-inch baking dish, okay? I took some butter, used my hand to spread it around, then I dusted the bottom of the pan with the cocoa powder. You also want a 4 teaspoon of salt, and if you can find them, the little flakes of salt, and that's just for the end to put on the cake at the end, because a little bit of salty and a little bit of sweet always tastes fantastic together. So with that being said, let's get started. So first thing I'm going to do is mix all the dry ingredients in a bowl. So there's our cup of sugar. I got to go grind up the salt, but I'll do that in a minute after I get done with what I need to do here. I need a 1/2 cup of this. That's gone. That's why we got another one. Okay, that's about a 1/2 cup. Get on that. One teaspoon of cinnamon. I know it's cinnamon, guys, but it's fun to say it backwards. Cinnamon. Little cinnamon. And I'm sitting these to the side as I use them because I like to put things away when I'm done so that there's not a big mess. Baking powder. All right, and then let me go grind up that salt. We're gonna do a 4 teaspoons of salt. Grind it, my 4 teaspoon of salt. All right, mix all those dry ingredients up. The next thing we're gonna do is mix the wet ingredients, and finally I'm gonna get to use my KitchenAid, so we're gonna use that for that. So I'm gonna mix the wet ingredients in the bowl. All right, so we're going to put our melted butter. That is 1 cup. ASMR. It's not greasy yet. Oh, whatever. 1 egg. This is the full egg. And then this will be just the yolk. That's how you get just the yolk, if you didn't know, guys. You just kind of put it here and just slide just the yellow part and let the yolk, the white I mean. Actually, yeah, that's how you get yolk too. If you want just yolk, there's just yolk. But we're not using that for anything. And we want vanilla. And just to point out, guys, I mixed the sugar in with the rest of the dry ingredients. It won't change this much, but really you're supposed to mix the sugar in by itself with this. So you can do it that way when you make it. It's not going to interfere with the way it tastes that I did it. But I just want to point out that the sugar is added into the wet mixture. All the rest of the dry ingredients are mixed together, not the sugar, but I mixed the sugar in. So, okay, so we're gonna come over here. And get old KitchenAid ready. Mix them. Pour in my flour. Well, not my flour, but my mixture of sugar and cinnamon and all those dry ingredients that you have to separate the sugar from. Just let that mix. Speed up a little bit. So now I'm gonna grate my zucchini, and if you don't have an electric grater or a KitchenAid with the grater attachment, I make this most of the time, actually all the time, with a regular hand cheese grater, and I just grate these zucchini that way. Do that till you have 2 cups, okay? And I'm gonna measure it here, and I have 3 small, so let's, hopefully this will make 3 cups. Because we ate one of them with the barbecue tonight. Here, turn it off. Come on, babe. Hold on. Come on, this side so you can see. Well, if you get 2 cups, I can take this one out too. Put the bigger one in. Much easier than what I was doing last week when I made this. Isn't it? Mm-hmm. And I was in here hand grating it. Alright, so we grated this up. This is nice. This is much faster. See, this is a 2-cup measuring cup. So let's see. And that was only 2. Not even a whole. I still, do I have? No, the little piece is great. So this is like exactly 2 for the small one. So I could have eaten 2 of those zucchini. Alright, so now that we have our 2 zucchini, our 2 cups of zucchini. I'll figure out how to get that out in a minute. Or not, you turn it off. Alright, so now we're going to start pouring our zucchini in there. Letting that get mixed in. 1/4 cup. This is whole grain flour too, guys. So this is me trying to make this recipe a little bit healthier by adding the whole grain flour with the protein in it. So this is cup. We need a little bit more. Okay, that's 1/4 cup exactly. So we start letting that mix in there. And maybe I'll turn it down a little bit so that it's not splattering all over the place as I mix the flour in. While that's doing that, 2/3 cup of semi-sweet chocolates. I'm gonna put a little more than 2/3, but 2/3 is the recipe, guys. 2/3 cup. A little more than 2/3 for me. But if you want to do it to the teeth, 2/3 cup. Okay? Now you let that get mixed in. All right. So we are going to now go and put this delicious batter, after I clean off my zucchini that's strung around my mixing the mixer. Put that back in there. Then we're gonna dump this in our prepared baking pan. Shout out to my camera lady who's not on video, but she is a very big help to me. She's being my extra set of hands. All right, while we're doing that, we'll just take this off so it doesn't,
Are you done with that?
Yes.
Como voy yo?
Okay, so she's done it a little bit. All right. Our prepared bowl. Look at this, guys. That looks fantastic, doesn't it? It's mixed to perfection. But I'm left-handed, so you gotta come on this side. So you can see. Pour that in your bowl. Now, if you want to make more than one loaf of bread, just double the recipe. Or triple the recipe, or whatever. That's what I did. I made 6 loaves last time, didn't I? I think I used smaller cake pans, though, because I used the store-bought ones. But this is the appropriate size bread, so it's going to be a little bigger than the loaves that I made last time, but I made 6. And it went in like a day and a half because people loved it. All right. It's all in there. It's ready to bake. My bread is ready to go in the oven. I'm putting it in the center rack. Let me look at my time for that. Okay, so 50 minutes in the oven at 350 or until you stick a toothpick in and it comes out clean. I go by the 50 minutes, depends on your oven. Sometimes you need more, sometimes you need less. But as soon as I pull that toothpick out, even if it's just like a little crumb of the bread on there, that's perfect. I take it out because it's still gonna bake a little bit more when you pull it out because it's gonna be hot, and I also like it to be super moist. And if you bake it too long, then you cook all the moisture out of it, then you end up with kind of a dry cake. But when you cook it this way, I'm telling you, everybody's gonna be like, how do you get your cake so moist? You pay attention to the toothpick and not necessarily the time. And you pull it out, even if it's a little moist, when it's a little moist on the toothpick. Perfect. All right, guys. I'm about to take it out and check it with a toothpick. Or whatever you got to check it. Stick a toothpick down the middle and see how moist it is. All right, this is the second time. The first time, guys, it wasn't ready, so I put it in for another 8 minutes. So kind of going in the same spot, and this feels much more ready. So a little bit longer. I'm going to give it maybe about 4 more minutes, and then we should be good. All right, it's done now. Well, that's it, guys. So let that cool for about 10 minutes, and then take your flat sea salt flakes, or I'm just going to use regular sea salt. I have a little salt grinder, and I'm just going to sprinkle the salt across the top after it cools for about 10 minutes, and then it'll be ready to serve. So it's too hot now, but I'm just going to, but if you have just use a regular sea salt shaker or whatever, and sprinkle some salt flakes across the top. I have not been able to find flat flakes, but it doesn't have to be flat flakes, because that means that every time I've made this, I've not used flat flakes, because I've never been able to find them, and the regular sea salt works just fine. So, all right, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you try this recipe, let me know. And that's cooling, and then we're gonna go sit around a bonfire and eat the Death by Chocolate zucchini bread. All right.